Right, so hello and welcome back to another Reddit video. Today we're looking at more of the top posts of the week from r/EntitledParents. No ma'am, cheating the system is not as easy as you think. This is my first post here, but it definitely won't be my last. I work in college admissions for a private university, so I deal with entitled parents and teenagers every damn day. This first noteworthy event happened back in September, just after our newest semester started. With COVID, all offices that don't deal directly with student needs, like us, are working virtually via phone and video calls. But because we also deal with visitors and prospectives, we use a rotating skeleton crew, where we each cover our office 1 to 2 times a week. It was my turn to be at our front desk, and I was just listening to music while getting through hundreds of emails when a woman and her teen daughter come in. The woman asks about herself, thinking about starting school again, wants to take classes, pretty standard thing to deal with. I asked the normal questions, any previous college, what would you like to do, when would you want to start, etc. So, said the lady, I want to get started as soon as possible, so can you get me started? You can definitely apply for the spring semester, I replied, which means a January start. No, I can't do that, I need to do it now, so I was thinking on Monday? Oh, well, we're a few weeks into the fall semester unfortunately. The deadline to register for classes was last week. Why can't I take a class now? Well, I replied, it's 3 weeks into the semester, so we can't just have someone join a class that way. Have you even applied? I don't have to. Can't I just sign some papers and give a check and get in class? I need to do that. I'm sorry, I replied, but the semester's closed. We can't do anything else but have you apply for spring. Here she got very red-faced and actually started pacing around our lobby. You know you're not the only school in the city. You should want to have me. We would gladly take you in January, I replied, but our policies state that no one can enter after the registration deadline. Who else can I talk to because you are no help? Her daughter, by the way, is just sitting in a chair looking like she wants to die. Okay, well, we have our student support dean upstairs who I think can help us with this situation. With that, she grabbed her daughter, headed out the office and went up the stairs. She didn't even wait to hear where exactly to go. Turns out that the dean and everyone in the office was gone, so I heard the next morning that the woman had actually wandered the halls for a few hours before being met by the campus police and being asked to leave since it became after hours. We haven't heard about her since. I've speculated that she's in a job or program that gives benefits to someone who's enrolled in college, and they came asking her for proof. That kind of thing's pretty common. The catch is that these employers don't ask for proof until after they know all the local schools have closed their registration, just for people like this woman. She can go to any school she wants, but she won't be given anything. How did she think that she was going to get enrolled in college without even having to apply? That really is peak entitlement. Also, employers waiting till after registration is closed to ask for proof is so smart. Sounds like she's out of luck. Entitled mother thinks her kid should play with my $1,500 PC. More of an entitled kid story. So I recently bought this PC that costs about $1,500 without counting the monitors and other stuff, and I was very delicate with it. My grandma's birthday was approaching, and since my family and my grandma live in the same city, all the other family members travelled to visit. Now, I love my cousins, except from one group. These kids are spoiled. Their mother doesn't care about them, so they developed into bratty and annoying kids. One is about 11, the oldest and the least annoying, but she doesn't care about what other people think and always does what she wants. The middle kid is about 8, and he's a crybaby. If we don't let him see our phones or play with them, he goes to cry to his or my parents. And the third one, about 4 or 5, is always making fun and picking on the middle kid. He also breaks many toys and is a snitch himself. So, onto the story. I was chilling in my house playing some CS when I hear the door. I hoped it was the good cousins, but it was the trio. In the beginning, we were in the living room talking and telling stories, but after a while they went deeper into the house. My room. First, they annoyed my little bro with his Nintendo Switch. After a while though, they got bored and went into my room. The first to walk in was the small kid. He immediately sat on my bed that's next to my desk and started watching me play. He asked to play, but I said no as it was too hard for him and that he would die. Then the middle kid walked in. The older one stayed talking with the parents, and they started arguing over who's going to play first. After a couple of matches, they started saying that it was their turn, and when I refused, they started picking on each other for fun. At one point, the young one punched the big one, who fell into my PC's tower and knocked it over. It was very heavy. They got scared and went to tell their parents. The PC, thankfully, was fine, not even a scratch. But then they made up a story about me picking on them and not letting them play, and said that I had to let them play. The mother screamed at me in front of my parents and told me that if I made her baby sad again, she would make sure my computer disappears. At one point, the small kid was playing and got so mad after dying that he punched my keyboard, knocking a piece off. This was a $30 keyboard, so I got mad. And then the mother told me off for being a snitch when I told my parents. They eventually left, and I now have to play with a keyboard with a key sunk lower than the rest. It's mechanical, so they're higher than normal keyboards. I told my mum to buy a lock for my room, and she agreed, so next time they aren't even coming in. God, it's like having one of those got any games on your phone kids, but in your own family. I feel like anyone who saved up a lot of money for a PC can relate to this story. Good on him for asking for a lock. Entitled mother tried to buy my console for less than what it costed and says I stole it from her. So I'm going to be as quick as possible with the history, and sorry if my grammar is wrong since English isn't my native language. This happened on Monday 23rd. I saved for months so I could buy a new console, and as most of you know, thanks to the pandemic, it's almost impossible to find a new console, Xbox or PS5, since those were shipped in limited quantities. In my country, I couldn't find any, so after not being able to get one on the internet, I decided to try my best and find one in the mall. After a few days, I went to the closest mall and asked for an Xbox Series S because it's cheaper, and they had one in stock, so obviously I was lucky to get there on time. I had to ask the worker since I couldn't find any on the shelves, and while the guy who was working there went to get the console, a lady right behind me was with a small kid. After the worker came back with the console and I was heading to the cashier, I was on electronics, but in this mall it's a small and separate part from the cashiers, so I had to take it and pay on there. The lady asks for the same console as I have. The worker told her that they didn't have any more until December, and she started to run where I was, and here is where everything started. "Excuse me," said the lady. "Yes," I replied. "How can I help you?" "It seems you have the last game." "Yeah, it seems like it," I said. "I'm sorry." "You see, my son wants that console too, so I was wondering if you could sell me your game." "No, I'm sorry. I saved a lot to get this one. I can't just give it to you." "You don't lose anything by selling me it. Tell you what, I'll give you 800 pesos. Those are like $200 and the console cost me like $300. "No," I replied. "Sorry, this console was more expensive than 800 pesos, and as I told you, I can't just give you this console. You can just buy one later. Why are you being this selfish?" At this point, I was clearly mad and getting bored with this. "I'm sorry, lady, I can't." After this, she just started to go away without saying anything, and I thought I could go home already. But after heading to the exit, the security guard stopped me, and the lady was there. "We're going to need you to give this lady her console," said the guard. I didn't get it at first, but apparently the entitled mother told the guards that I had stolen her son's console after they bought it. "It's my console," I said. "Look." I proceeded to show the guards the receipt and told them the cashier where I was. After telling them, the lady started to go outside into the parking lot. She ignored the call of the guards and just disappeared from the exit. After I explained to the guards and everything and took more time to make sure I did buy it, I was free to go, and I swear I saw the entitled mother outside of the parking lot waiting outside her car. I decided to use another entrance exit and headed home, and here it is, safe and sound. Oh, hearing that the entitled mother was waiting in the parking lot is kind of creepy. I wonder if she would have tried to steal it out of his hands in a last-ditch attempt. Either way, I can't believe she thought that lying to the security guards would actually work out for her. Entitled parents trying this kind of thing actually happens so much on this subreddit. I wish they faced some repercussions for it. Entitled father demands the stranger pay for his groceries because he promised he would. So a lot of people have asked me to post some more stories after I posted my last one, but I didn't know which ones to do. I've had a good amount of them, however a lot of them aren't as bad as the ones I've already told, but this one is probably one of the worst. Please note that I can't remember exactly what was said, but I'm putting into it what I think they said. Due to me working in a supermarket, I meet a lot of different people, and a lot of them are incredibly nice and respectful. However, I also see a lot of Karen and male Karens, unsure of the name they have, and that is exactly who this story is about. It was midweek and I was working the tills when a man, an entitled father, and his son approached and began loading on their shopping. And they had a lot of shopping. After scanning their items, I told them the amount. I think it was around £145, and the entitled dad began rummaging around his wallet and pulling out notes of money. After counting it all out, it turns out he was a few pounds short and decided that his son should probably put something back so that he could pay. The kid was upset and reluctantly obliged. However, the guy who was standing behind them at the till spoke up. "I can get that for you," he said, obviously talking to the kid and not the dad. The kid smiled, but before he could say anything, the entitled dad went, "Thank you so much, it comes to X amount of pounds," and he threw his son's items in the trolley and moved away to let the man come forwards. The other guy said, "Oh, I was talking about your kid stuff, I'll buy that. I'm not paying for your shopping, I can't afford to." "But you just said you'd pay," said the entitled dad. "Yeah, but I meant I'd pay for your kid stuff, not yours." "Well, you can't just make empty promises now, can you? You'll have to pay for it now." He then looked at me. "That's how it works, right? He has to pay because he promised he would." "Well, he doesn't have to pay for anything that you buy, unfortunately," I replied. The entitled dad then shoots me a mean look and tells his son to pass his stuff to the man behind, who is still nice enough to pay for it, which is a lot nicer than I would have been. And then they both left. Midway through serving the nice guy, I saw the entitled dad and his kid at the cash machine through the window, withdrawing some more money, meaning all along he could afford it in the first place. So me and the nice guy had a good laugh about that. How these entitled people feel absolutely no shame in seeking to squeeze every last drop out of a generous offer is actually beyond me. Fair play to the nice guy for paying regardless though. Always nice to end on a faith in humanity restored kind of moment. And on that positive note, that is unfortunately all we have time for today. If you enjoyed this video and you want to make sure you catch the next one, make sure you're subscribed down below so you don't miss out. Thank you for watching and listening, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye for now.